Oh, I was very, very proud to see the painting. I said, just a small gathering or something. When I see the people, the crowd all coming, then I rang my son. I said, son, come and see what's this here. The Carmen is a big day for us, and you come along.
Brush, small brush.
It was really, really a big surprise for us. We didn't know she was keeping all those things in her all the time.
English isn't Carmony's first language. She has few words to describe her art.
Oh, the color white paint here, white paint. The color white paint here, auto paint here color. The color mix of paint, green, red, pink, purple, orange, blue.
Still, she's not the first artist to prefer the work to speak for itself. And the work is selling.
Yellow, white.
Sunflowers?
Yeah, sunflowers, pink, yellow one.
I think it gives the community that challenging their perceptions and their values when it's seen on par alongside other mainstream artists. And yeah, that's strongly saying that message.
Yeah.
Art lets us explore who we are and how we see ourselves. And with success, the world sees us differently too.
William Scott has autism.
That's me. That's my name.
But that's not how he defines himself.
That's a popular guy. I'm a popular guy.
William Scott certainly falls into the category of, someone who's an artist.
So making friends to a lot of people, make friends with a lot of people.
He traveled to New York for one of his shows about 3 years ago, and I was lucky enough to go along with him. And as we were walking along the street one day in New York, he turned and he looked at me and he said, okay, I'm an artist. And something changed, something happened. He was among peers, other people that understood his work and that were art makers and that were art collectors. And he'd been in the art scene there, and he felt that was a right place for him to be. And so there was an identity shift, and although William had never told me how he identified himself before that, it's a big deal for an artist of any stature or any media that they work in to finally say out loud, okay, I'm an artist.
William paints what he loves. Heroes, the friendly folk he knows, and celebrities he admires.
See that? Cindy Harris, a peacemaker. Terriel's a peacemaker. And Janet Jackson is a peacemaker. This is the serious stuff. Ultra Woman, the real superhero, to hiring the peace, magic piece, to put it on the earth.
Yes, with that mask on.
Art's a great escape. William creates a world of moral citizens living in a clean and idyllic city.
Those guards, they take away the wrong people. They get put away, get recycled by those guards. Recycle those bad people where they're doing killings or gun violence. They get recycled by guards. Recycle, people recycling. These people will be taking evil's place. Inner limits will be taking science fiction's place, will be taking sci-fi's place. To cancel the evil sci-fis, take away the sci-fis.
The guards from William's paintings don't exist in his neighbourhood. He lives in a part of town famed for high crime and street dealing. Every day he escapes, taking a 2-hour journey to creative growth. In his art, William perfects a dream. Plans for a new San Francisco, free of crime.
He is a man in his 40s who grew up in San Francisco in a neighborhood that was pretty tough. There was a lot going on with drugs and with gangs and with violence. And he came up with a manifesto, I'll call it, of how to reinvent his neighborhood.
I designed a new San Francisco. Real good. Yeah, you want to see my drawings? Architects. In the future of the housing right here, the new housing will be right here. We'll be in the Candlestick Point right here. So make a real peaceful place.
Where will you live?
I will live right here. Right here. I will live right here.
He started reinventing it in drawings, mostly architectural drawings and sculpture of the housing facilities that he grew up in and of the people that inhabited his neighborhood. He redid them, beautiful and shining and supported and with values that he considered very important and positive people. And that's primarily what his artwork has been about.
This is Janet Jackson right here. That's my favorite fan right here. And this is Janet right here. Janet Jackson is right here. People will like Pretty Woman of Janet Jackson. I love Janet Jackson. But this Janet Jackson, Inner Limits of Janet Jackson, up the Hiring the Peace World, and she stops the war. Janet Jackson stops the war, and she's an inner limit woman, and she's wholesome encounter to put people's lives back when they lost their lives.
What stands out the most in William's work is that you believe him. You know, you believe what he's telling you, and you want to support him in the truth and in the endeavor of what he's doing. Not only to create an environment that he feels comfortable in, but for all of San Francisco that might be suffering. Utopian ideas, they were very popular, and they still are in contemporary art making. So there was a moment there for William, especially in New York galleries, where he really was right on, you know, par with what other artists were doing. Yeah, William's work sells upwards of $2,500, and the sales of his work have actually contributed to his family in a really important way. You know, he'd been taken care of by his mother. He's 45 years old and taken care of by his mother for his entire life. And in the last 2 or 3 years, based on his art sales, he's contributed to his independence and to his own life and to his mother's life. So it's a big deal.
Art is expressive, but does it have the ability to transcend language? Abby Twiss is deaf. Through her art, she can express her ideas, thoughts, and emotions.
In terms of the value of art, art is everything to me. To start with, without art, the world would be a very dark and depressing place. Not to mention boring. It's almost unimaginable. That's why I like my art to be so colourful. That means a lot to me.
Unlike our other painters, Abby's had formal training, so she's not an outsider artist. But being deaf, she doesn't always feel like an insider. When Abby studied at Elam School of Fine Art, she was the only deaf student. She felt incredibly isolated.
Well, I did miss out on a lot, especially when people were getting together and having chats. They would feed each other and critique each other's work. Sometimes they would all gather around a sculpture, and if they went out for lunch or anything, they would all get together and chat. I was by myself a lot. I guess I was used to it. It meant that I could focus on my studies.